Stop copying me! Do you remember Copycat from Pokemon Red and Blue? One of the fun minor characters in the game who actually has a side quest you might not know about. So in Saffron City, in one of the houses, we'll find this family living there. Downstairs, the parents are talking about their daughter who likes to imitate people, though her habit of doing so has left her with not many real friends. Upstairs in her room, you'll find that she's an avid collector of Pokemon dolls. And also a fun little thing, she has a Doduo who can mimic human speech, which is a thing we've seen throughout the franchise when it comes to bird Pokemon, and we would see that obviously later with Chatot, the straight up parrot Pokemon, but it is at least implied that various other animals and Pokemon can do the same thing, just like the Murkrow in Gold and Silver, and also this Doduo here, which actually fits really well, because Doduo being a two-headed Pokemon already has that duality theme going on. The point is, back to Copycat, when you interact with her, she'll actually just mimic you. And this is one of the few places that we actually get to see Red speak, which you might remember from the video last week, because the dialogue we read here is stuff that Red is saying to Copycat, but that she is then mimicking and repeating back to him. I do like the whole idea that he walks in and just kinda innocently asks her, "Hey, do you like Pokemon?" Because I guess canonically after he talks with the parents downstairs, he heads upstairs to try to make friends with the kid, knowing that she's lonely, but the way that you can really connect with her and become her friend is by heading to the Celadon department store and buying a Pokédoll, which by default the Pokédoll item depicts a Clefairy, which we then find out is Copycat's favorite Pokemon. Going back to Copycat and giving her the Pokemon doll, she'll return the favor by giving you the TM for Mimic, which is a cool move on its own, though not super necessary. So that in turn with the fact that this side quest is actually really out of the way, I feel like maybe Copycat isn't all that known about, so hey, maybe if you're replaying any of the Kanto games, you can go ahead and give her a visit. Though while it seems like a happy ending for the moment, in Pokemon Gold and Silver, which takes place 3 years later, returning back to where her house would be is actually the magnet train station that connects both Kanto and Johto. Interacting with some of the other NPCs here, they'll talk about the girl named Copycat and how she used to live in a house here that was then moved somewhere else. Apparently the family was paid to move, but that's still not a cool thing to do. And from her parents, we'll find out that in the move, she actually lost a Pokemon doll that was given to her by some boy, who we know to be Red, or the player character. So yeah, a really sad casualty of the modernization of Kanto. Sure, I know it is just some little girl's doll, but that was important to her. We can actually reunite them by heading over to Vermilion City, where one of the members of the Pokemon fan club actually has a Pokédoll next to him. And apparently he has one because someday he wants his own Clefairy, but for the moment we'll just settle for a doll. But it turns out that this is actually the very same doll that Copycat had lost. So thankfully he's pretty understanding after you tell him that it belongs to somebody else. And this is where you can return to Saffron City with the Pokédoll in hand, thus bringing the whole story to a nice conclusion. A very minor way in which these games continue the legacy of Pokemon Red and Blue, which overall is kind of the theme of Pokemon Gold and Silver in relation to Red and Blue, that being about history and continuing a legacy. So it's a fun little time and is a reason why I really do love this character. And while she isn't utilized a whole lot throughout the franchise, things go even farther than just this, because we did actually get a Copycat trading card, which depicts her dressed up as various other characters. As this was during the Gold and Silver era, first of all she's dressed up as Ethan, or Gold as he was called at that point. There's also a Team Rocket grunt costume as well as a Pikachu, but also just Blaine for some reason, which I find hilarious. I guess it was a really fun idea because Blaine is already somebody we know who wears a disguise, given his two different appearances and how he is in the anime as well. The same artwork was utilized in a reprint during Celestial Storm, and was also the basis of the full art version, which has the same costumes overall, though unfortunately they nerfed her Blaine cosplay by having her hair stick out from the back. My goat Copycat would never be caught like that, but really I think it is cool just how many times this card got reprinted, because in the trading card game it is a pretty useful supporter, being one that allows you to shuffle your hand into your deck and then draw a number of cards equal to the number of cards in your opponent's hand. Genuinely very helpful and pretty important for the card game. During the Gold and Silver era, we got another reprint that does not depict her with green hair like we normally saw, instead utilizing the last design that we saw in Heart Gold and Soul Silver, which is how she was depicted in the overworld. She has the standard Gold or Ethan cosplay as he was called at this point. There's also another Team Rocket outfit, though this one more accurate to the video games because it is all black, and potentially a reference to how in Heart Gold and Soul Silver you as the protagonist would disguise yourself as a Team Rocket grunt. But otherwise we get another old man cosplay with a bald cap, that being Professor Elm, and then finally there's also Misty because I don't know, Misty's cool I guess. By the way, I really do love the design of the Heart Gold and Soul Silver cards in general, and this is one that I'm very happy to own some League promo versions of, they just look so nice. But overall in the trading card game, the last time we saw Copycat was in Evolving Skies. Another reprint with the same effect, and once again the Ethan cosplay is front and center, but also we've got some Sword and Shield characters, that being Leon, Marnie, and even Rose. I really do love how that general theme of diverse disguises stays in every card. And once again, this card did get another full art variant that I'm very happy to own in real life as well. Bit of a late addition, but the Copycat card was also added to Pokemon TCG Pocket pretty recently, and in the artwork here we see the usual Ethan costume, but the ones featured in the background are Fantina, Lisi, and Hala, who were all trainers that were the focus of supporter cards that were also released in the same set. When it comes to the anime, we did technically see Copycat. In the episode Ditto's Mysterious Mansion, it obviously is the debut of the Pokemon Ditto, as well as a character Duplica. While the anime and video games are obviously different canon, Copycat was a nickname given to the video game character. Meanwhile, in the anime, Duplica seems to be her birth name when, Pokemon characters are just like that, so generally she is meant to be an adaptation, both of them being depicted with green hair, though in the anime, Duplica's story is very different. While she also has a talent for imitating other people and even Pokemon donning various costumes, her true goal is to be a Ditto Master, as she attempts to train her Ditto to be really good at imitating other Pokemon, and while it's able to do a pretty good job, it isn't able to nail the face, basically keeping the same Ditto face on the Pokemon body. And while you may think that is a normal thing because we've seen it in basically every depiction of Ditto since then, that just isn't how it's supposed to be. Ditto is meant to copy other Pokemon one-to-one. I mean, we see it in the video game, where there's no discernible difference between the two. But I guess the little funny Ditto face on the regular body of the original Pokemon was so funny that it was carried over into other properties. We see it in the trading card game and so many other little promotional things. Heck, Pokemon Pokopia recently has you keeping the same weird little Ditto face. So I find it hilarious that this little quirk has stuck around even though it's based on a Ditto who was doing a bad job at imitating other Pokemon. It was doing it imperfectly and was trying to be on the same level as every other Ditto. Back to the episode, it is still a really fun time. We get to see a lot of other cool disguises here and there, but when Team Rocket shows up and steals Ditto, they try and get it to replicate other Pokemon for nefarious purposes. Bone, Brock, Misty, and Duplica all show up, even wearing Team Rocket outfits imitating their motto. Once again, this is just a really fun and memorable episode. Duplica isn't actually too mad at Team Rocket because they ended up helping Ditto perfectly imitate other Pokemon, as it is now visually indistinguishable from Meowth. So yeah, this is how it's supposed to be. It's not supposed to have the Ditto face. I love too that once we get to the final chase of the episode, she ends up holding Meowth instead of Ditto and just throws him right at the balloon when she realizes that. Eventually she gets back Ditto and they have a nice little happy ending. Her Ditto now finally being able to copy any Pokemon perfectly, and she would even appear later on in the anime. So overall, rounding things up and bringing it back to Copycat, I really do love how she's been depicted in the video games, the card game, and the anime with her anime counterpart. For a character who ends up playing a little role in the video game, I find it amazing just how memorable she was in the trading card game, and how in the anime she led to the general depiction of one of the most popular Pokemon. In all honesty, I think it would be really cool to bring her back into the video games, or at least have a reference to her, and to officially partner her up with a Ditto, the definitive Copycat Pokemon. So let me know what you think in the comments below about this character in the anime, the video games, and the trading card game, and tell me what your favorite cosplay was. Remember also to leave a like, subscribe, and hype up the video, that one helps a bunch. But anyway, for the moment I should get back to playing Pokemon Pokopia because that one has really consumed my life, oh boy. Thank you to every channel member for your continued support, including the Great Gators, Leafy Lilith, Neptune, No Coco, Kyle, Mr. Vaporiz, Supernormal Paranormal, Creepy Rar, JBOTW23, Paulo Stolben, IRL Lugosi, Starshooter, Alex with Shiny Hunts, Koi13, Cemetery Hill, Cheez-It62, GatorKid509, TF, Mathaclog947, Taijirai, and Quago. If you would like to support, see your name here, get access to emotes for comments, live streams, and sometimes early videos, as well as our members Discord server, you can become a channel member today. You can also follow me on Twitter and Blue Sky for more memes. Anyway, this is GatorX, and I will catch you all later.
There it is, its name is Ditto. It is pink, but it's not gum, no. It can turn into anything. A Pikachu, a Totodile, and a mini Ursaring. Catch 5 days of shifting, duplicating, and transforming. It's Ditto Week, beginning Monday at 4 here on Kids WB.